Behind the warm smiles and sweeping promises of limitless friendship, a hidden conflict is unfolding, one that could upend the global balance of power. Imagine two towering nations, outwardly united, but secretly locked in a high-stakes battle for supremacy. Could the much-touted partnership between Russia and China be coming apart at the seams, driven by a dangerous web of espionage and mutual suspicion? Recently, a confidential Russian intelligence document surfaced, revealing Moscow's true anxieties about Beijing. Presidents Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping have met over 40 times since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, celebrating their closest alliance in decades. Yet Russia's security agencies paint a very different picture when the cameras are off. On the surface, China claims neutrality in the Ukraine conflict. But in reality, the Chinese economy is deeply tied to Russia's war effort. By early 2025, Chinese-made electronics accounted for roughly 4/5 of the components in Russian drones. Ukrainian intelligence reports that Chinese suppliers are quietly fueling Russia's military machine, even as Beijing insists it is uninvolved and dismisses these claims as political attacks. The real shock comes from Russia's Federal Security Service, or FSB. In an internal memo confirmed by multiple Western intelligence agencies, the FSB describes China not as a friend, but as the enemy. Likely written at the end of 2023 or the start of 2024, this document details Moscow's growing fears about Chinese spies seeking military secrets, targeting Russian scientists and officials, and operating undercover in sensitive regions like the Arctic and Central Asia. Chinese intelligence services are accused of aggressively recruiting Russian scientists, infiltrating research institutes, and using academic and business fronts to steal sensitive technology. According to the FSB, Chinese defense-linked organizations poured into Russia soon after the 2022 invasion, intent on capturing real-time battlefield data, especially about drone warfare and Western countermeasures. Dr. Li Wei of Peking University puts it bluntly: the Sino-Russian relationship is a marriage of convenience, driven by shared interests, but undermined by deep mistrust and historical grievances. This skepticism is becoming impossible to ignore, even as leaders keep up their public show of unity. The digital side of this intelligence duel is just as fierce. Russian counterintelligence has been ordered to surveil Chinese messaging platforms like WeChat, even hacking the phones of suspected agents. The FSB also tracks Chinese academic efforts to rebrand parts of Russia with old Chinese names, an ominous sign of possible territorial ambitions. Beyond fears of technology theft, the Arctic is emerging as a new flashpoint. In March 2025, the United States Department of Defense reported that Chinese operatives, posing as scientific researchers, were gathering strategic information about Russia's Arctic projects and the Northern Sea Route. Dr. Elizabeth Wishnick of Columbia University warns, China's expanding footprint in the Arctic threatens Russia's interests and could spark intense competition. Meanwhile, Chinese cyber groups such as APT-41 are ramping up attacks on Russian defense contractors, especially those working on advanced missile systems. Even Russian government agencies tasked with cybersecurity are under siege, signaling Beijing's intent to probe for weaknesses in Moscow's digital armor. Despite these mounting threats, Russia treads carefully. The FSB's own guidance is to avoid public confrontation with China, requiring senior-level approval for any sensitive counterintelligence actions to protect the fragile alliance. But cracks are showing. In May 2025, Russia made the rare move of publicly accusing China of stealing submarine designs, exposing their rift for all to see. Is Russia's growing reliance on China for imports and economic support making it vulnerable? Professor Andrew Monahan of Oxford University observes, the FSB's concerns reflect wider anxieties in Russia's security apparatus about China's rising power. With both countries jostling for technological dominance and influence across Eurasia, a key question looms. How long can this uneasy partnership last amid deepening suspicion and covert conflict? As leaks and accusations mount, could this secret war escalate into a crisis that reshapes alliances and the world order itself? Looking ahead, the stakes in this shadowy contest could not be higher. The intelligence struggle between Russia and China is not a diplomatic footnote. It is a seismic fault line that might reshape global power. Imagine a future where mutual suspicion only grows. Russian counterintelligence cracks down, Chinese espionage becomes ever more sophisticated, and every summit handshake masks another layer of distrust. Several scenarios are possible. Should the covert war intensify, we may witness public accusations, expulsions of diplomats, or even sabotage of strategic projects. Already, Russia's public charge of submarine design theft against China, a rare move, signals the alliance is under real strain. In the Arctic, both sides are boosting their presence, preparing for a contest over untapped resources and lucrative shipping routes. What does this mean for viewers worldwide? It is a reminder that even seemingly strong alliances can be riddled with rivalry beneath the surface. The lesson: look beyond headline proclamations of limitless friendship or strategic partnership. For investors, policymakers, or ordinary citizens, understanding these hidden dynamics can help anticipate global shifts before they erupt. For companies, the dangers are real. Intellectual property theft, supply chain vulnerabilities, and the weaponization of technology are not distant threats. They are unfolding now, as Russian and Chinese firms compete and cooperate under the watchful eye of state intelligence. Those who diversify and stay informed will be better prepared for sudden shocks. For students of history and geopolitics, the evolving Sino-Russian drama is a classic lesson. National interests always outweigh lofty rhetoric. As Dr. Li Wei says, this is a marriage of convenience, not a love story. Will these hidden tensions ignite open confrontation? Not yet, but the risks are rising. The uneasy alliance endures for now, held together by shared needs and fear of Western sanctions. But the FSB's secret warnings, China's regional ambitions, and the surge in espionage all hint that fissures are widening. The next spark, perhaps in the Arctic or over military technology, could thrust this rivalry into the open, with consequences far beyond Moscow or Beijing. And here's a critical, often overlooked fact. Despite all the hype about technological independence, the vast majority of Russian drones in Ukraine still rely on Chinese components. That dependence is both a strength and a dangerous vulnerability. If this partnership shatters, entire industries, and even military